Hello and welcome to this video on information architecture, and with particular emphasis on information architecture in digital marketing. This video is part of the series run in the web marketing, digital marketing in Barry and Polytechnic, and brought to you by Anthony Friel. And I hope this video is not too boring. We are looking at putting UX principles at the heart of website design. So that's our tagline, and it really is putting user experience principles at the heart of website design. And indeed, in our last class and in our Q&A session, and then in the last video in this series, and you can get that on YouTube as well, we discussed what user experience was and how it was employed, or how it was important or needed in digital marketing. So today we're just going to look at information architecture and the role that that plays. And of course, design was an important area in user experience. Let's look a little bit more today in our information architecture. This will be a short video, I'm hoping, and obviously you can tell these are not edited and done off the cuff, because I can't tell you how long the video will be, even though you'll be able to tell me by the time you've watched it. I am rambling on now. And I don't know what happened there. So information architecture is about putting proper web structures in place. Good reading. And you can see here in front of us we've got, and this is quite a common used graphic. If you Google information architecture images, you'll see different variations of this, basically, where information architecture, and you can see it falls here really in the middle of the combination of the business context, which is the overall context of the business, and of course we've discussed context in our digital marketing strategies in the earlier videos. It takes into consideration the business context, the content that we are trying to get out there, and of course our users, our customers. So information architecture is finding that beauty little spot there in the middle that brings all three of them together. And okay, straightforward enough. I suppose information architecture, well, this is quite a cluttered slide, which is maybe a bad example of user experience design, but you can see here we look at it deals with the following. It deals with classification and hierarchy of websites. So you have your home page and the pages underneath that. So the hierarchy and classification of your website, and you would have studied this in many other subjects in web media as well, including HCI and indeed some of the IT subjects. It includes labeling, tagging, navigation and wayfinding, searching. So these are things that information architecture includes. It connects people to the content they're looking for, and I like that description there, because it's pretty all-encompassing. Good information architecture helps connect people to the content they're looking for. So information architecture also helps the people who create and maintain content to do their job easier, and it does. Good architecture means that you can update and upload and do things quickly. So from your point of view, those of you who are going to be practicing in it, it's good for you as well as the user. It links contents to other content and more usable, the content people are looking for, etc. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. Sitemaps are key, I suppose, to user experience, but also to information architecture. And there's two types of sitemaps in terms of the lingo or the word that's used for sitemap, and we look at them. One sitemap is the design, the overall design. So when you're starting off with a website design, you have an overall sitemap where you might have your home page at the top, and then underneath it you have the About Us, Contact Us, products, services, things like that there, blog, etc. And then underneath each of those you might have sub-pages and sub-pages under that. So, and we kind of covered this a little bit in user experience. A well-designed site must be intuitive, and what we sort of meant by that is someone should be able to go into the website and find their way around naturally. It should be a natural thing for them to be able to find their way around. It shouldn't be confusing. It should be normal. And as what we've said here, everything must be sort of structured logically from a user's perspective, and that's what we're doing. We're designing it from a user's perspective. So websites should have a clear hierarchy, and a hierarchical sitemap we look at in the next couple of slides. The structure can be three of these. It can be broad and shallow, narrow and deep, or a mixture of both. So, and we look at an example of all of them. So, a hierarchical structure is ideally broad. The important pages are on the top. The sitemap becomes narrower as you scroll down through the site, and the less important pages are further down in the sitemap. And an example of a broad and shallow hierarchy is this here, where you have your home page, then you have a nice wide array of different pages ranging from whatever here. And it's not a deep website. You can see that you can only really sort of go 3 pages deep. Narrow and deep is this sort of website that maybe is you can have only 3 pages off the home page, and then they come down and you have different links off lots of different pages. So these are just some examples, and of course plenty of these available on Google if you're looking for further examples of hierarchies in website design. And some of these go into 3D models, and there's some great examples out there, so I encourage you to have a look at them if you get a chance, and we can discuss the hierarchies of course more in our next Q&A. And there's just another example. So good sitemaps are key to the user experience, and I suppose this is, the sitemap itself is the architecture, and it's key to good UX, and we explained this in the last video. It's up to user experience designers to find the right balance between breadth and depth, so what works best for the site and for your customers. You must always keep the user in mind and what they would find easiest to use, and a good structure will guide users where they need to go. As we said earlier, there's 2 sitemaps that sometimes we can get confused, the 2 different meanings of the word sitemap. The first one, which we've talked about so far, is a structural plan of a website done in advance of designing a website. So that's the first sitemap that we refer to. And the second, which we just clicked on there, is a page which is included on your actual website, which helps the user to find information on the site. This type of sitemap is usually mentioned in the website footer and should be available from every page. So you do see it sometimes in footers, and you look at apple.com's sitemap, you see here that they have every page on their site as well. So just building proper navigation and information architecture. Good navigation lets users answer the following questions. Where am I? And navigation should let users know where they are in the site. And again, this is the intuitiveness that we're looking for our users to experience. And of course, use of breadcrumbs maybe not so much anymore. Clear page titles, obviously, URLs, menus, sitemaps, and we might have menus on the left or right hand side as well. Of course, there's very many different types of information architectures. Where can I go next? So that's a question that should be easily answerable to the user, and we have things like this. Building proper navigation and IA, and another question that users might ask is, how do I get home? And of course, here's different ways that, of course, and we all like that. We all have that sort of OCD in us where we like to know how to get back home, and we like to think of in this site now and have no idea to get back where I want to be, and we like that, and that's as part of the user experience, and being able to build something, I suppose, no different to being in a house and finding your way back to the front door. Always look at the reverse navigation. So there's just some simple questions that we would ask when we are designing our site map or planning good navigation. and create a good IA layout. Well, this is quite an old version here, and I suppose now we know that if you look at WordPress and the free templates that are available, which you would have worked at on in your WordPress, you would see that there's thousands of different designs at different iterations of left sidebar with no right sidebar, no right sidebar with a left sidebar, the central content. There's different ways of doing headers and sliders and footers and different things now. So we'll have a look at that and discuss them further in our Q&A session. Just some common things that we normally see in the header. We'd normally have our logo, the tagline, main navigation, any login features and search bars. And these are, again, sort of conventions that you would see across the board in most websites today. And again, it's that when a user comes in to use the website that they feel comfortable and know their way around, and they're not confused. And I suppose maybe how unnerving would it be if you had the logo in the bottom right hand corner of a web page when you loaded it, and the menu went up along the right hand side with the login feature in the bottom left hand. Your user might find that a bit unnerving. Your central content area refers to, of course, usually where you have most of your content specific, whatever your content marketing is that you're going to be doing, and of course any call to actions, although you can have call to actions of course on the sidebars and on the footer. So sidebars are secondary navigation bars, but look, I'm designing an e-commerce website at the moment, and on the left hand side you can add, there's so many widgets now that you see on WordPress. You know, you can put in if you like this product, you might like that product, or most popular products, or links to Facebook feeds or Twitter, Instagram. There's so many things now that you can put in your sidebars. Oh, sorry, there's an email coming in, and figure out how to stop that happening in the future. Calls to actions, including buttons and sign-ups, etc. So, and in the footer, you usually have the following information: legal information, sitemaps, privacy, policy, disclaimers. So, and that's it really. The information that we've covered today, I want you maybe before our next class to just answer these questions, do some research on that, and that's really looking at mobile applications, and we'll probably be taking that into our assessment. So I'd like you to have a look at that, and we'll discuss what are the mobile accessibility considerations for IA and UX needs of a mobile user. And I'm going to let you research that on your own over the next couple of days, and we'll address that again. So as I said, maybe just to finish up information architecture, look, I suppose you could use the analogy in terms of building a house. You plan out everything so that you know, everything within the house works well. You wouldn't have you know, maybe kitchen beside all the bedrooms. You know, we tend to have kitchens beside living rooms and things like that there, and there's a plan, and the planning goes into the way that we design a house, and that's to make it the best user experience as possible. And it's no different when we're designing websites, and we have to be conscientious of the user that we're designing for. So I will let you answer those questions, and I have actually just on Moodle a couple of further, so our video actually will be here when by the time you look at this, or articles on information architecture, and just a couple of websites there for you to have a look at, which will help answer those questions towards the end as well. I think that is enough today. This is only a short video, just to give you a little bit of a overview of information architecture and how it is practical for digital marketing. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this, and talk soon.